everybody, this is Bruce here. Welcome to my YouTube channel, Traveling with Bruce. Please subscribe to my channel today and become a key supporter of Traveling with Bruce by clicking the Patreon link. Enjoy the video. Hey everybody, how you doing? It's Bruce here with Traveling with Bruce. Welcome to my channel. Today I want to talk to you about cruise ship vacation versus an all-inclusive vacation deal at an all-inclusive resort. Now, I have to say right off the bat that I'm biased towards cruising because I've had such a wonderful series of cruises over the years. And in the past, I've been to a number of resorts, but only once have I been on an all-inclusive resort. And I didn't mind it, but when I compare the two, I far prefer cruising. Now, let me start the comparison this way, all right? It's likely that if you've booked yourself an all-inclusive resort, you're likely to be traveling to the resort on a charter air type arrangement. Now, it might be a private charter company, or it could be through a regular airline, but the deal is that your price for the vacation is an all-in price, which includes your airfare, your accommodation, transfers from the airport, that type of thing, and home again. You fly back home. The trick of it here is that you have a set flight at a set time on a set date, both directions, and the resort is locked in, of course, and once you're at the resort, you got your amenities, you've got meals, your drink packages, and everything else, and you're on your way. With a cruise, it's a bit different because you book your cruise separately from an airfare deal. You don't buy a cruise that includes your airfare because the cruise ship, the cruise line doesn't really know where you're going to come from. They know that they're going to depart either San Diego or Los Angeles or Miami or Fort Lauderdale or Europe, wherever, at their set port, and they're going to bring you back to that port at a set time, set date. So it's up to you to get there, to get to the ship on time, and it's up to you to get off the ship and work your way home from there as well. So what I like about that is that I'm able to set my schedule with regard to travel and then enjoy the cruise and set my schedule for travel to come home from the cruise, as opposed to an all-in vacation on a all-in deal where I have to fly on this flight at this day, this time, and so on the way back. Now, I've had a lot of relatives and friends take cruises and all-inclusives, and what I find that I hear a lot, and sometimes I hear this in the news too much, is the problem with all-inclusives isn't the all-inclusive resort. It's great, they're fine. The problem lies in getting there and getting back from there, and it's all kinds of stories like, well, the flight down was fine, it was a long day, it took 8 hours, but we got there, we had a wonderful time, but then getting back, what we didn't realize was there was a bus that was supposed to pick us up to take us to the airport, and actually it was an hour and a half late because we were the fourth resort to be picked up, and by the time we got onto the bus, it was packed and was nowhere to sit, and da-da-da-da-da-da. And then getting to the airport, the plane coming down to drop off passengers and then take them back was late coming in, mechanical issues, and now the problems begin, especially if you have connections back in the mainland once you land, wherever you're landing. With a cruise, you're the master of your domain with regard to travel. You decide when you're going to get to the pier to get on the ship, and you're going to decide when to leave the city that the ship docks at the end of the cruise to come back home. And this is something I've grown to love because if I'm going to leave, say, Los Angeles, I might just fly to Las Vegas and spend a couple of nights there. And then my wife and I will rent either a car or take a quick Southwest Airlines flight to Los Angeles, work our way to the ship either on a prearranged bus that the cruise line offers or a cab ride. Or if we rented a car from Las Vegas, we drive the rental car right to the rental car depot closest to the ship, and then a quick cab ride, we're on the boat. Same thing on the way back. We get off the ship and we get to a rental place. where our car reservation is waiting for us, and we drive back to Las Vegas and spend one more night there, and then fly home the next day. We're in total control of the schedule. Where if we were doing a full-blown all-inclusive resort package deal, we have no choice in the matter. We have to be on a certain flight, and we have to fly home that same day. And if that means you leave at 8 in the morning from Cancun, Mexico, and you get home at midnight that night, that's an awfully long day. And if you've scheduled yourself back to work the next day, whew, that's a tough one. If you're younger, it might work out. You got the stamina to do it, but you're old like me, not going to happen. That's one thing about the two to compare. But the other thing I want to compare is the actual resorts themselves. Being on a cruise ship, to me, just gives me all the flexibility in the world. My wife and I both know that we're not too far away from each other. Sometimes that's a good thing, sometimes a bad thing. But we're on the same ship, and if we need to find each other, not too hard to do. She knows where to find me. I know where to pretty well find her, because we know what it is we like on board a cruise ship. Same can be said, though, with an all-inclusive resort. If it's 800 rooms large and it's got 5 pools and 4 bars and 16 restaurants, yeah, okay, we could be apart for a while. But nowadays with telephones, you just text each other, where are you, we'll find each other. But on a cruise, you've got 10 different places to eat, from the buffet to the hamburger stand on the pool deck, to the fancy restaurant in the evening, to the steakhouse, the Italian house, the Chinese food, the sushi bar, that type of thing. Then you've got entertainment. Every night in the main theater is a different show, or you go to the comedy club, or you're going to the piano bar, whatever suits your fancy. And then during the day, you have all of these other events going on. These cruise planners, their job is to keep you busy and give you options. And there are dozens and dozens of things you can do on a cruise ship every day if you're at sea. And then once you're at port, you're always on the move, of course. So when you're at port, you go off the ship for a few hours, whether you're just taking a walk around, or whether you're taking a quick cab ride to a certain part of the city or town that you're in, or you're taking a full-blown tour that the cruise line organizes. Tons of options. With a landlocked, or with a all-inclusive resort, I should say, your excursions are a little more limited. Now, if you're in Cancun, Mexico, you can always rent a car and drive around. If you like golfing, great, go golfing. But you're not going to take a 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 hour escorted tour every day from a beachside, oceanside, all-inclusive resort. You're there to basically sunbathe and enjoy the weather and get a tan and relax. And if that's your thing, great on you, enjoy it. Thing though is, a 5-star all-inclusive resort is not cheap, and they generally don't go on sale that much. Sometimes you hear about the odd deal, but for 90% of the folks going, especially at certain times of the year, it's pretty expensive to go. With a cruise ship, however, you can dictate how much you're going to pay by what kind of room you're going to pick. If you want to pick the owner's suite, okay, $1,000 a night or more, up to you. But if you want to take, say, an inside room for yourself and your wife, you might be on an inside room for $80 a night, and you're still eating the same food that the millionaire's eating on the 15th deck upstairs. So there's that advantage to taking a cruise. You can make it much more affordable and yet get the same. You go to the same places, eating the same food, swimming in the same pool area, seeing the same shows. There's some advantages to that from a dollar and cents point of view. Food-wise, choices are either or. You've got great choices on board the cruise. You've got great choices at the all-inclusive resort. But if you're in a 3-star resort, all-inclusive resort, you might be subject to 3-star food. Whereas on the cruise ship, you go to the main dining room, the steak's a steak. Lobster tail's a lobster tail. If you go to the steakhouse on the cruise ship, it might run you $25, $40, $50 a person more. Think about the fact that if you were in, say, Las Vegas and you wanted to go to a premium steakhouse in Las Vegas, you're going to pay $70, $80, $90 each with tip and taxes for that same meal. So the cruise ship can compete with any a restaurant anywhere for quality and price. So think about that. Anyway, that's a brief recap of the two. I prefer cruising myself because I love the variety. 7-day cruise, 7 different stops, from different things to see. My view outside my window, if I have a balcony room, is different every day. It changes during the day. Whereas with an all-inclusive resort, you might spend just the evenings in the room, and during the day you're out at the pool and enjoying yourself. If it's raining, however, you may not be at the pool. You might be stuck in your room, and then you might be stuck with Spanish language television because it's pouring outside and you can't go golfing, you can't go for a dip, you can't go for a walk. So there's those issues that you have to think about too. Weather can kind of come into play. With a hurricane, just to finish up by the way, with a hurricane, a cruise ship can skirt a hurricane, can go to a different port entirely and completely change its itinerary midstream. With an all-inclusive resort, you are where you are, and if there's a storm coming, you're stuck with it. And if it's a hurricane coming, and you found out 2 days in that there's a Category 4 hurricane coming towards the end of your stay, you're going to have a tough time getting off the island early or out of that resort. You might have to ride it out. You might not make it out on time and be stuck at the airport for a night or two because there's nowhere else for you to sleep because people have taken your room behind you at the resort you were staying at. So that's something else a cruise ship is great at avoiding, is really bad inclement weather. Anyway, this is Bruce with Traveling with Bruce. Thanks for watching today. If you like what you see, consider subscribing to my channel. Give me a thumbs up. I'd really appreciate that. And if you're so inclined, visit my Patreon page and consider supporting the channel. Thanks again. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.